Okay, ladies, now let's get information. I say, okay, ladies, now let's get information. You know you that bitch when you cause all this conversation. Always stay gracious, best revenge is your paper.
The thick writer chick, Miss Courtney Lyric, on the ones and twos. Ah. But anyway, thank you for joining me on this beautiful Sunday. It is cold as polar bear balls outside, which is why I am indoors. But real quick, I just want to run it about the recent Ryan Davis sit down on Club Shay Shay. Not even the whole thing, because but just really the viral clip about him and his relationship with his 10-year-old daughter. Now, before I get into it, he has already made a rebuttal video saying that he pointed out that the reason that there's a disconnect is on him, that he is responsible for the distance, and that part was just cut out. So, if accountability has already been taken for his position in this relationship, great, good, because the responsibility does lie with him. However, be that as it may, I still like when celebrity gossip or whatever you want to call it opens doors for conversations that need to be had within the culture anyway. And I think this is an opportunity to have several conversations, but we'll keep it brief. So, if you have not seen the video, it's pretty much, and I'm just gonna surmise it as best I can. In so many words, he pretty much said he felt when his daughter, who once was very much so a daddy's girl, kind of transitioned over to only contacting him when she needed things. And that left him heartbroken. So, yeah, sometimes all you can do is sigh. Like I said, he claims that he did take accountability for that. So good. Great. In fact, because it is your fault. I'm just gonna hold your hand when I say this. More often than not, if the relationship with you and your child, even with your adult children, is not exactly where you would like it to be, or is in a place where they only contact you when they need something, you usually don't have to look much further than your own front door for the responsible party. No matter what the dynamic between parent and child, the parent will always hold the most power and the most weight because they are the authoritative figure in that relationship, especially with children. Like when I first saw the clip, I assumed he was talking about some adult daughter. Don't look at me like that. He looked like he could have a 20-year-old. So I mean, um, but no, and to keep listening and hear that the girl is 11 or 10 is wild. Like if you as a parent are not the ATM for your children, good lord, who is? So but according to him, he's already taking accountability. That's just a sound bite that has went viral. That's fine. We can still have our conversation either way. I would like to say, you know, in our culture, and yeah, I'm talking to us, um, the dynamic between parent and child, and parent viewing child as individual person as opposed to either responsibility, extension of themselves, and in some cases a burden, it needs to be discussed. um a child or adult children do not owe you a relationship strictly because you created them. Even God doesn't operate like that. For my Christian folks, God does not bully himself on us. He does not be like, I'm God, you have to have a relationship with me. So who are we as mere parents? And if you want to be honest, I mean, giving birth and getting pregnant for women is a lot more intense than it is for men. It's literally just shooting out some skeet for men, you know. But for women, it can be life or death. So I'm not minimizing, the seriousness of giving birth. But in actuality, all you really got to do is if unprotected and keep it and give birth, and that makes you a parent, or it makes you someone who has reproduced. You now have offspring. Congrats. Your average animal does this, but when you sign up to be an actual parent, You sign up to be the ATM. You are the provider. I would take pride in it, especially if I had a daughter. Before any man she thinks to call me, shit, this how it ought to be. But when you're dealing with hurt and broken adults who are looking through things in an unhealed lens, it makes stuff awkward. And throughout the rest of his podcast, there's already a mother wound there. So I think his disposition towards women is kind of off anyway. Although he did take accountability, the fact that he even fixed his mouth in so many words to say something that almost made his daughter sound like some broad he used to be fucking with. Like, she only hit me up for money and I'm heartbroken. Not his actual offspring is wild. Like, you know what I'm saying? And but back to what I was saying. There's a disconnect sometimes between that relationship. You came from me, so you owe me. Because I am, you should. That's kind of how that goes. Because I am XYZ, you should XYZ. In the case of this conversation, no, I'm working on them S's. They be kicking my ass. Um, because I am your mother, because I'm your father, you should check up on me. You should call me. You should reach out to me. We should have a good relationship. And that is not how relationships work at all. And I'll tell you how I know that the culture knows. Y'all know damn well when y'all meet these women and when y'all meet these men, baby, get a boyfriend will know his favorite baseball team down to his favorite anime, favorite color, how he likes his ramen, which beer is his favorite, which liquor he likes the most, what's his favorite type of car, or get you a woman, know her favorite type of handbags, her favorite color, her favorite perfume, this and that, what makes her go and ah, but don't even know your child's favorite color. Don't even know their favorite subject in school, favorite teacher, favorite sports team. Do they even like sports? Favorite cartoon. Do they even like cartoons? Don't know shit about shit and are expecting some sort of bond. You know nothing, Jon Snow. People want the relationship and the respect without the rapport, and it just don't work like that. Especially with this new generation. Like, millennials, we're in between. We're halfway. Some of us are still yes ma'am and honor your mother and father, and that's your parents, so pretty much give them respect and honor and see about them no matter what, because the Bible says so. And the other half of us are like F that. And if you ain't, I'm pouring out where I'm getting poured into. And the Gen Z, the new they definitely ain't going for it. Which is why even the Bible says, come unto me as little children. Why? Because they keep it real. Okay. So when he went on this show and said this, and even though he took responsibility, allegedly, for where their relationship is now, you still didn't protect her. Y'all got her picture up. It's grown people in the comments calling her names, talking about, oh, this is because of her mama. It's, so they're going in on quintessentially your family, and you put them in that position. That is not what a father does. That is not what a protector does. You're trying to get clout, you're trying to get amens, you're trying to get empathy, or you're just trying to get shit off your chest. Either way, you're doing it at the expense of your offspring, and that is not what a protector does. So even if he did take accountability for making her seem like some gold digger, you still put her out there to the wolves, and for what? And then in his little rants where he was calling people dumb for not understanding what he was saying or not listening to the whole podcast, he did not apologize for not protecting her in that aspect. That's why you can miss me with it. Like, it's my job. And oh, I'm sorry. I guess I should have put that out there in case you didn't already know. I'm not just talking on my ass. I do have 2 teenagers. We've been past the age of 10 for quite a while. And I'm telling you this from experience. And I know what some people might be saying. Oh, well, that's because you live with them. They live with you. It's different. There's always an excuse. It's different for weekend parents or it's different for the non-custodial. Actually, no. If any parent could be entitled, because that's Elmo's word of the day is entitlement. If any parent can be entitled to a child's affection, love, and respect, it would definitely be the one who does the most taking care of. It would be the custodial. Be that as it may, I still put actual effort into knowing my children as individuals and respecting who they are as people. And it is work. Nobody said it was easy. And it has to be consistent. And even though I live with them daily, I still, how was your day at school? I know yesterday, I love hearing about the bus drama. Even if I'm tired, how are you? How did that? You know, who you talking to now? Oh, you broke up with so and so. She sounds like she got good head on her shoulder. Let me, all of that. We sit down, we watch the animes together. All of that. It's actual work. Speaking of, come in. Okay, I thought that was my youngest knocking on my. I told him I was. You see what I mean? So, but yeah, even though I live with them, I still have to put in the day to day effort of. They're not babies anymore. Sure, when they were babies, it didn't matter. You ain't got no favorite show. You really ain't got much of a personality right now. Just taking care of you is the job. But as they evolve, you have to evolve with them, evolve or die. What is evolution? And so back to the original conversation, culture in the 50s and 60s. That's why I'm saying I'm not shitting on what the generations before us have done because they did the best they could. The job of every generation, though, is to do better than the last. Yes, our parents were literally forged, oh my gosh, born and raised in Jim Crow. So, and their parents before them, fresh out of Jim Crow, fresh into Jim Crow, kind of evolving from slavery before them, damn slaves. So, I mean, something as trivial as let me see what my child's favorite song on the radio is probably isn't in the forefront of your mind when you're just trying to teach them to survive in a world that hates them simply because of the color of their skin. I get it. Maybe grandma wasn't sitting everybody down and being like, what do you think about, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? You're a beautiful, precious, maybe she was so focused on surviving that those things were considered trivial. I understand. That's why I'm saying you can't have one conversation without having many. However, we are twice removed. And as jacked up as the world still is, what did I say? Evolve or die. And that goes in every aspect. Things are not as bad as they were. We can admit that. We're allowed to read. So, you can't hold on to the way grandma and them used to raise their 10 kids with your two. You have to know them. They don't owe you a relationship just because this isn't the olden days. You know, we know our parents, they respected and loved and honored their parents no matter what type of parent they were. Shitty, alcoholic, drunk, doesn't matter. The Bible says, honor thy mother and father. I'm going to do it until you die. The Gen Zs ain't going for it. The millennials, half of them fooling with it. You might actually have to show up and be a consistent factor to be viewed as more than air quote an ATM. And don't get me wrong, I'm a very hands-on parent and I do thank God for the relationship I have with my children. Thank God, yes, but also did my part. Like I said, I put in the work. God just didn't come down here and make us close. I had to put in the day-to-day work. But with that being said, damn, I forgot what I was going to say. With that being said, you think I don't get a, get an extra text message with the eyeballs. So are we still getting the MHA game that we talked about? Can you send me $40 to my Cash App? Very much so. That didn't stop just because we cool over here. Like, yes, who else? And you know what? On the flip side, it is my absolute fucking pleasure to do it. I know what it feels like to not be able to. I know what it feels like when the kids are being good. They're making the grades. They ain't around here tearing shit up and terrorizing the house. And you have to tell them no because you just don't have it. So it for me is an absolute pleasure. I don't feel no, so I don't feel like I'm being used. I feel like thank God I can. But again, when you're looking through the eyes of your own wounds, you will project them to anyone. You know, if my daughter can't come to nobody else on this planet, she knows she can come to her dad for what she needs, which you would think is an honor. But instead of looking at it that way, I'm heartbroken because that's all you see me as. Baby, somebody pull out the world's tiniest violin. As I previously stated, if your relationship is not more in depth, it is if it is surface level, you need not look beyond your own front door for the reason why. People want the relationship without the rapport. The way we used to do things back in the olden days ain't cutting it no more. You have to be vulnerable. You have to be open. You have to show up. He still sees me as a Superman. Why the fuck do you want to be seen as Superman anyway? Let's start there. I don't need them to see what's Wonder Woman real name? Diana something. I don't need them to see Diana whenever they walk in the door. I don't because I am the type of parent that opens up and is vulnerable. I don't have a problem saying today was an off day. I'm not in the best mood. Mama ain't got it right now. Or, you know what, that really made me mad. I'm not your Superman. I am your mother, though. I am a person. And we're so busy trying to not be people, but want a personal, which is people, relationship. I'm just saying, you know, some things that make you sad. Side to the left, side to the right. Now, of course, there are exceptions. uh, God damn it, you know what I'm trying to say. Exceptions to certain things. If the other parent is making it hard, difficult, or impossible for you to access and see your child, okay, this is not that. But this isn't his situation. If the girl can call him and ask for money and he can call her back, y'all have access to each other. So you don't have any excuses. We know that, you know, out there in the world there are men that are really trying. There are women that are really trying. And there are people that are caught up in their own junk or you know, different conversation for a different day. Everybody that's being kept away, it ain't because of bitterness. Some of y'all are trash and they don't want the abuse, the foolishness, or the consistency near the child. So let's be real, it ain't all that, but we do know that does exist. If that is not your situation, everything else, every other ball is in your court. If it ain't no piece of paper or a person in your way, genuinely in your way, not just I hate dealing with her, she gets on my nerves. Every time I call her or try to talk to my child, she whining about what the child need. Somebody nagging you about shit you ought to be doing anyway is not them stopping you from seeing your child. You all know what I mean. Don't be purposely obtuse. So if you don't have one of those sort of situations where, oh, I'm trying to be a parent, I genuinely cannot find my child, then everything else that ball is in your court. And you have to evolve with them. Maybe you were good with babies, and then once they started talking and having personalities, you ain't know what to do. Evolve or die. What surely, I mean, I wouldn't call myself the sharpest tool in the shed, but when I popped the babies out, I knew they wasn't gonna stay 1 month old forever. Did you not get the memo? You didn't know? I'm gonna tell my ship has sailed. I've already had kids, but if you're over there daydreaming about having children and whoop de woo because you feel like society is putting that on you and it's something you're supposed to do to be a real adult, if you are not genuinely ready, and this is something we need to start as a culture preaching to our youth, if you are not genuinely ready to apologize to your child, to be fully and consistently, you can't see, I'm counting my fingers, but you can't see, fully and consistently responsible for them, to be vulnerable with them, don't do it. Let me add on. Also, if you're not ready to accept that they are going to be who they are meant to be and not who you want them to be, if you just need some little junior to live out your sports dreams through because you didn't make it, don't have kids. They're not projects, and they're not just sacks of weights that we carry around, for 18 years. They're like, peep this. People, unpopular opinion, children are people. And did you know you have to treat people good for them to keep fooling with you? But in the culture, we don't think that. I'm responsible for you. I take care of you. And that should be enough to get your respect, love, adoration, honor. But we'll go with our friend girls, know all their business, be all up in their thing, take them places, go places with them, be close and cool with them, and can't even tell you what kind of food the child like to eat. Can't tell you shit about shit. And yes, taking care of your child is great. Feeding them and providing for them is part of the job, though. It's literally the bare minimum. Like, if you don't want to go to jail, if if you don't want to get your license suspended, for all my people on child support, that is the bare minimum. Pay up. That's like the entry to get into the club. If you don't want to go to jail and you have a child, you have to feed it and clothe it. Bare minimum stuff. And while we are on the subject, culture, we have a problem with fathers being praised for literally doing the bare minimum. And I think that is what produced a conversation like this. Because let's be real, even in just the viral clip, while there were a lot of people calling him out, there were some amens. I get it. I've been there, bro. I know how you feel. You feel like you're doing your own and it's just not enough. And mind you, we talking about fucking children. Children are so easy to please, it's ridiculous. If you just pull the PlayStation out 3 times a week, a child is happy. Take them skating once a month, bare minimum stuff. And we be praising the shit out of, and this is what creates these monsters. You have the audacity to sit there and feel a ways about a relationship you created because the bare minimum is the standard for fathers in our community anyway. If you're just paying child support, you're praised. And I admit I've been guilty of handing the praise out for just doing that. Because there's not so many, but there are those who do nothing. So when you're doing something, it looks like a whole lot compared to somebody doing nothing. You feel me? And that luxury is not afforded to mothers. Like, if I got on the internet and was like, I feed these kids, I buy them clothes, people be like, so what? It's like it's understood with motherhood in our culture that that's what you signed up for. There's no like the way that he got some co-signatures and some amens, there's none of that for women. And that needs to be discussed. If we're parents, it needs to be an equal job. Or the expectation needs to be there that it's an equal job. Everybody wants to puff their chest, show up at the graduation, whoop-de-whoop, come on the internet and whine about not seeing my kids, this and the third. But if you look over their track record of what they actually do and the actual showing up, it may possibly be very little to none, and people still praise it. And let's not pretend like that's not true. We got to start holding our men accountable to greatness. The reason that a little bit seems like a lot is because we're holding our men accountable to or next to nothing. We're holding them next to the barest of bare, which is doing nothing and not being there. So if you just pay child support, y'all ignore my nails. I got my little Christmas nails. They're coming off. Trust, okay. But if you're doing absolutely nothing, and this nigga is at least paying his little $200 a month, oh shit, he's a shit. No, let's stop. Let's stop with that. Let's stop. We talk about Black excellence in everything but parenthood, and enough is enough. Okay. Okay. Are we on one accord with that? The only reason that this man came on this nationally syndicated podcast and said that shit was his with his chest is because he knew he would be met with empathy. He knew he would be co-signed. He knew he would be met with amens. Even Shannon sat there and co-signed it. He knew he was amongst kin. And what's wild is Shannon gave his own daughter a 25K limit on her wedding. Mind you, this man is worth millions on her wedding. Which don't get me wrong, the average person could that's some people's salary. So I get it. From the average person's perspective, it's like, duh, 25K, bitch, make some shake. Okay, cool. And then you turn around and pay 20 million to this 19-year-old for her to drop these SA charges. Perhaps he should have took his I I think he knew this was a platform where he would be sympathized with. Birds of a feather flock together. And that's what I'm saying with but what are they but a reflection of the culture? What were we just talking about earlier? You'll get to know a nigga up, down, and around. Get to know your little female friend up, down, and around. See them on a regular, call them on a regular. Won't go to sleep unless y'all talk and text. But the baby ain't heard from you. The child ain't heard from you in 2 weeks. They get their little once a week check in, and you can check it off your list of fatherhood. And no, we need to stop accepting that bare minimum BS and calling it excellence. It's not. And especially if you have the audacity to turn around and think that you are owed some kind of. I treasure the friendship and the relationship with my boys because, first of all, it is something I want. I'm not stupid. I know they're not going to live with me forever. And I want, while they are here, for there to be peace. And I don't want to come home to this little nigga, that bitch. I just, where there's hatred, safety, and peace for everyone. It takes work. I have to not only take care of you, I have to care about you as a person, even if your interests are not my interests. When they started to get older, okay, when a kid is little, yeah, they're gonna be on your leg, yeah, they're gonna be on your lap. But after a while, they're gonna drift in the direction of who is calling me. If the TV and the tablet is calling, okay. If the friend groups are calling, if sports are calling, if the streets are calling, that's where they're gonna go. So you got to evolve with them. I don't know what to do with a 10-year-old. What do I talk to her about? Her fucking day? Have you not been 10 years old before? It ain't that deep. Like, what are the things that when people say them to you spark up conversation? Even at call center jobs, they train you on open ended questions. Like, these are children. Really, all they want from you, really, all they want from you is consistency. And let's be real, culture, we have been above that because I take care of you and that should be enough. I put food on the table. We seen y'all saw the movie Fences. Art imitates life, boo. Y'all hated him in Training Day. I hated him in Fences. He was a terrible fucking person, but you couldn't tell him shit because he paid the bills. But that was it. You're a horrible husband. You're a nonchalant, emotionally disconnect father. However, I only partially excuse it because what? The time period. Like we were saying earlier, you can't have one conversation without having another. That was a lot for a black man to accomplish in those days. You trying to come home and go out into the world without being lynched. I get it. You might not have time to sit and take your boy to a baseball game. You are mentally overwhelmed. Okay, y'all walk so we could run. So today, y'all should not be on that same shit. Not too many people trying to lunch you. You got and it's technology out the game. There is no excuse. Again, unless there's some actual blockade, phones work. If your kid is not a phone kid, they're a PlayStation or Xbox kid, create you a damn Xbox account and get your ass on there. Where there's a will, there's a way. Let's be real, culture, and just say we have not been willing. And it is work. I know. I've been doing the work, so I know. It is tiring. I remember when they were maybe I about to say 6 or 7, and I can just hear the little one now. 6, 7. Oh Lord. But when they were about 7 and 4, I think is that at the particular time where I was working, it was extremely stressful. And I would come home, have our little movie nights. I would, order the food, do the things. And there are days when I would doze off on them, but I would still show up. I would still show up. So I said that to say, baby, life be life. And it doesn't stop life because you decide to be an active parent. It don't even be life because you decide to be a parent. But you still have to show up. Even if you doze off, show up. Like to this day, although they are 16 and 13 now, and I have a new schedule every Friday, like clockwork. I put in 2 hours of PTO for what? Movie night. I've been having movie nights since the oldest was 2. He'll be 17 this year. And I know they're older now. There might be a night where one don't come because he don't want to watch what we watching. The other one don't come, or they doze off. But guess what? I still show up. You don't owe me anything. We've been consistently doing this, so we're gonna stay doing it until y'all tell me I don't want to do this anymore. I'm too grown for this. Which we've had those talks. I'm like, even when you get grown, at least come visit me once a month to watch like just a really good Netflix movie or something. And I remember my oldest telling me, "Well, I'll be up here way more than that." It does a heart good. I think problem, some of the problem with the podcast, Mr. Davis was looking for validation and ego stroking, but from who? For me? If them boys is good, if they are pleased with my parenting, anything else is noise. I will never be looking for amens at the detriment of my children. I got to answer to God for them kids. And yeah, I mean, I'm not no guru. I know perfection around here. I'm not pretending like I am, but every like 6 weeks, and I've been doing this for years, I'll check in and just be like, is there anything that you need from me? Like, as far as a mother, have I been slacking? Have I been not paying attention? And I always say, and don't tell me what you think I want to hear, be for real. And throughout the years, there are times when they've had complaints. And instead of being in my ego, I adjust. Because why? Evolve or do what? Die. And obviously, die is metaphorical for the relationship. I don't want the relationship to die. It sounds like Mr. Davis don't either, or he wouldn't have been heartbroken. But we cannot complain about what we create. You know, we can't. So, I mean, you coming on this podcast looking for validation from Shannon Sharp and the other niggas amening in the comments, like, what about the 10-year-old girl? The one you didn't protect, just put her picture all up on the internet. Okay, so at her expense, you might get some virality because I can promise you his name has been searched more times in the past 24 hours than it has in the past 24 years. And yeah, you may get some ticket sales or some amens or some whatever is in the comment, but at what? At what cost? Even if behind, because he said the podcast was 2 months ago, even if behind the scenes you have been building, you just knocked all that work down. Up, thought you was safe. Can't trust you. You didn't tell unless he told her ahead of time. But even remember, this is a 10-year-old. Even when things play out in real life, because now these people are seeing my picture. Now my not coworkers, but for her fellow student, the people I go to school with, they dare to watch your podcast. They saw this clip on TikTok. I'm being talked about and not in a good way. So we back to square one. Just hand over the money. Can I get the Robux or not? Because once again, you was supposed to be my safe space, my daddy, and you let me down. So at like what cost? Mm. Like I said, I don't mind little viral celebrity moments as long as they lead to conversations that need to be had in the culture. And The kids really are the future. And if we want the future to improve, to head in a positive direction, we got to be on our shit. You can't just shove them in front of tablets forever. You can't just shove them in front of PlayStation forever. Eventually, you may have to grab a controller too and have a conversation. And you're going to have to do it more than once. And you're going to have to do it on a regular basis, even when you're tired and you don't feel like it. And it can't be, no, that's a mother thing. I think that's part of the problem too. The culture has really assigned certain things to gender. And apparently nurturing, which has been umbrellaed off into getting to know and just treating like a decent person, has been shoved on the mom's plate. And dads just show you how to change a tire and cut the grass. And some of y'all ain't even doing that. My. We can't, next point for the culture, we can't be so caught up in our own healing at the detriment of the next generation. Clearly this man got mother wounds. It's all up and through his podcast. But you bleeding over to your daughter because you got this weird way you're looking at women because your mama got pregnant at 13 and I guess your wife did this. And yes, you need to heal, but you're gonna have to, we got to learn how to do shit simultaneously. Our kids cannot wait for us to fully heal from our own childhood and our own trauma before we can raise them. If they're already here, they're already here. The idea is you get all that shit fixed before you bring life into the world, which is what we need to teach the youth. Guard your womb, sis. Lock down your seed, bruh. It's the most precious thing you got to give to another human being. Because once the child get here, it's real. But for the ones that's already there, continue your therapy, continue your journaling, but that you can't leave the child in the wind while you get your shit figured out. It's not, it's that's called a generational curse. You're causing damage while healing. Well, I just have to my mom and okay. And that's not important, but you went around and fucked and now you got a baby who is now a 10-year-old. And since you're like 40, which means you had 30 years to deal with that shit and didn't, don't pick these last 10 to be trying to scramble, you know. I mean, do it if you need to, do it, but not at the detriment of. And I think so many of our, millennial parents are so busy healing. We're finally open as a culture to therapy, praise the Lord. But and continue that. Continue that. It's needed. I think it makes you a better parent. But don't be so caught up in your own healing that you shut down from what you are responsible for today. If y'all gotta heal together, if you gotta have them conversations, my mama did this, and the third, but I'm trying my best not to do you like that. So is there anything you need? Is there anything like if you got a crosshair to get the job done, do what you gotta do. And kids will respect you for that. Kids see through fake stuff and they respect vulnerability. Because in children's mind, not like we haven't been children before, grown-ups got it together. That's why whatever you present is law because they trust adults. If the child just started dealing with you like an ATM, you've presented that, okay, this is where we are now and I'm going to follow your lead. But if you've presented accountability, vulnerability, admitting to when you fucked up, you're setting a precedent. Good Lord. Like, I am a writer, not a voice actor, okay, boo, but you're setting a precedent for that. And you're helping build up a healthy adult who knows how to properly communicate where they are emotionally. And if we want things like, I don't know, the divorce rate to go down, that's what I'm saying. It all, the circle of life, it all intertwines. And it starts individually in your home and then it oozes onto the community. And that's why, okay, he can go viral for this, whatever. As long as conversations are being had like this one that needs to be had. Children don't owe you nothing. They didn't ask to be here. It's not like they had a town hall meeting at the Walmart. Okay, you're going to go with Sheila. I'm going to go with Tom. Who are you going to go with? Dave? No. You hunched around, decided to keep it, And voila, they partook in that none. That was your choice. There were many options along the way that you could have taken to avoid it. But now that they're here, this is what you signed up for. If you're above the work, just don't have them to begin with. We don't need no traumatic people or traumatized people putting more traumatized people into the world. That's not helping anything. I'd rather you just don't have children at all. I'm not one of them type of people. Oh my God, girl, you ain't had no kids. If you don't need to be procreating, I'm fine with you not. I ain't trying to have your little hell seed robbing me at the ATM when I'm 60. I'm good. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your children is not have any children until you are genuinely ready. No shame in that. No shame whatsoever. And for the people that's watching, it's like, oh, well, it's too late. My baby already 12. It's too late. My baby's 16. It's never too late for anything. I remember talking about this in a podcast years ago. One of my favorite lines from the movie is with Jim Carrey and Morgan Freeman, where Morgan Freeman is God. And he says, there's nothing too messy to be cleaned up. And then the two of them grab like old school mops and a bucket and get to cleaning up the hugest empty floor you've ever seen. But he's absolutely right. If you genuinely want to start today, you can. And here's the kicker, they don't have to. This is for your adult children too. They don't have to accept you. Why? Because what have you shown me? Inconsistency. So if starting today, moving forward, is all you can do, because it really is, then do that. And be comfortable with whatever reaction or response you get. First of all, take accountability and own up for the fact that things are the way they are because of you. And not, I mean, because of me. I'm the parent talking, because of me. If you don't even want to give a long explanation, I think they're owed an explanation. But if you just want to get to the nitty gritty, you know what? I fucked up. I should have been there more than your childhood. Please allow me the chance to moving forward do better. They can say yes, no, or whatever. And I'm telling you, these new your kid a millennial, they might be like, yes, sir. Cause we still polite. The Gen Z don't give a fuck. Whatever, bro. And actually, I love them for that. Because even the Bible says, oh, no man, nothing but love. They don't owe you anything. So they could say no. And if they say yes, treat it like the treasure that it is. And even if they say no, a text message every day, every other day. Hey, just thinking about you. Hey, keep it consistent. It's very hard to deny consistency. What you water will grow. And if you are watering this garden of this relationship with your consistency, eventually you will see a harvest. And if you don't, you weren't technically owed one. So please don't go into woe is me. I tried to reach out to the little ungrateful brat and they, child, sit down somewhere. Society, women, put them tiny violins away for them niggas. That's, like I said, that's why he came out here with his chest out, thinking he was gonna get empathy because he knew he was, and he did. Put them tiny ass violins away. We have got to start demanding excellence from these men and women too. But I do know that the bar is set a lot lower for fathers. Oh, I showed up. I called. I took him to Chuck E. Cheese once, and I still barely hear from the little nigga. Oh, surprise, surprise. I'm gonna tell you now, it take work. It's a daily job. Daily. If don't know woman owe you no relationship, guess what? Your kids don't either. You gotta work. You gotta work, work, work. And culture, let's be willing to put that work in. Nobody said, notice I didn't say shit about perfection. Notice I didn't say shit about being rich, being the smartest in the room, the most emotionally or intellectually developed, just show up and be consistent. How was your day? And then Listen to what they say. So tomorrow when you ask, you can follow up. I know you said yesterday the science teacher was getting on your nerves. Was she tripping today? That's called a relationship. Not just WYD every 3 weeks. You wouldn't accept that from no dude. You wouldn't accept that from no woman. Why should your children accept that from you? Then when Father's Day come around, anybody calling you, here you go to Facebook whining. Shut that shit up. Then when Mother's Day come and you ain't getting nothing but a card in the mail, here you go to Facebook whining. Oh, mother, it's a thankless job, honey. No, you was rude. You didn't want to come out your room. You didn't talk to nobody. You didn't want to get to know them. They don't know you. People celebrate people they know. You're bad. That's what I said. They want the rapport. They want the relationship without the rapport. You want to be celebrated like how your homegirl kids celebrate her. Have you put in the work that she did to be close to her kids? That woman done put in blood, sweat, and tears to be them kids' mama, and they know it, and they appreciate her, and they show it. And you mad because your kids don't do that for you, so it must be the kids. No. Now we know there are exceptions, but for the most part, especially small children, you fucking up. If a child don't, children are so easy to please, so easy to please. And this is coming from the one who's the disciplinarian too. I wear all the hats. There are times they don't like me because I got to lay down law. But then they come back and they do like me. Why? Because I take interest in their interests. Genuinely. I treat them like people, like young men. I don't treat them like boy number one and boy number two that I take care of. They're people. For me, it's a pleasure to. I get the text, and they don't always get a yes from me, especially if you've been slacking. Like I said, I wear all the hats. I'm a disciplinarian too. So sometimes your feelings, you gotta put them to the side. If you always want to be liked, if you always want to be adored, either way. So even if you're consistently a good showing up parent, there will be times where the kids is rolling their eyes and slamming doors. It comes with the job. You and your feelings, because all you getting is a cash app request. Nigga, this dude just slammed this damn door so hard I thought it was gonna come off the hinges. Mad because he can't play basketball today, or mad because he got to study some more because he made an F on the test. Boo hoo, nigga. Boo hoo. Another lesson for the culture. Get out your damn feelings. Don't be bigger than the program. We got to put emotionally healthy kids into this world. So get out your feelings. It is not about you. Yes, self-care as a parent is important. That's for the overstressed, overstimulated parent that's doing too much. We're not really talking to them today. We're talking to you barely doers that are on podcasts whining. What you tired from? Your weekly visit? Your weekly phone call? Nigga, sit your ass down. But for real though, he said he took accountability. I didn't see that part. He said he did. Good. I hope he actually acted on it. I do hope that it now going viral hasn't done more damage than good. That's why we gotta be careful. Our first job is protection. Everything else is second. Especially girls. My son still looks at me like I'm Superman, but she just like the world is so misogynistic already, especially against black women. Why would you set your daughter up for that? Go heal somewhere. Because what happens when he don't see you as Superman no more? And if he do see you as that, something's off. You're not showing a human side. If your child believes that you can't be broken, you're not being as open with them as you should be. Another lesson for the culture. That stay in a child's place shit really didn't work out so great for us as a culture. Children need to see certain things, and certain things they don't. You being a damn human is one of the things they can stand to see. Just saying. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. I thank y'all for coming and chilling with me and, you know, the things. For my Game of Thrones out there, this evening actually is the first episode of, I want to call it Sir Duncan the Tall, but I think he's just the main character. So I'm excited about checking it out. You know, hopefully it's just a hidden gem. We need a good new Sunday show. I really had one since Welcome to Dairy. The world is in flames right now. We need another show to talk about. Ice tripping, niggas is going on podcast tripping. Like, so Sir Duncan, give us something good. Thanks so much, and God bless.
I am the stone that the builder refused. I am the visual, the inspiration that made ladies sing the blues. I'm the spark that makes your idea bright. The same spark that lights